Church leaders, time and again, have declared that there should be no politics in our pulpit. The statement that was made by NCCK and the Archbishop of ACK is nothing new to our political sphere. We've seen elections after elections, politicians getting into our churches and making political statements right from the pulpit. Is there something that is going to be different from this new statement that has been made by the clergy? That's the conversation we want to have tonight on Crosstalk. And joining me is the chairperson, or the regional chairperson of NCCK, Reverend Dr. Alphonse Kanga. Welcome, Reverend.
Thank you.
Yes, also with me is Brian Nabiswa, who is a political analyst. He's going to be talking to the political realities of our time. The church leadership can say no politics in church, but politically speaking, is it possible? That's the conversation we want to have, and you can be part of it by joining us and sending in your comments and feedback on our SMS line, 20316. Our WhatsApp line is 0786 316 316. Let the conversation begin right now. Reverend.
Yes.
No politics in church. This time, is the church for real, or is just another statement?
Well, I don't know what you mean by this time, because what I know, we begin from this point that worship, the definition of worship, is declaration of the worthiness of God. So when we talk of worship, we are declaring that God is worthy. And when we say this time, it's not supposed to be this time. If you go through all our liturgical books, our structures of worship, whether the Anglican, the Presbyterian, the Methodist, our liturgy is not supposed to be interfered at all. It only happened at a particular time. There was either favor extended by the preachers to our brothers who are in that field of political field to come and greet the congregation. And then they took advantage of that so that they extended it too far, that it started now creating something that is not supposed to be in the liturgy. So what has the church said right now? The church has only done this. They have said, let's go back to the order of worship. As I said, worship simply means the worthiness of God.
So do you think the political class has abused that favor that was extended to them?
Yes, actually it was not supposed to be there. In all our liturgical books, worship is meant to be worship to God. As we talk to God, God talks to us on Sunday, and then God answers our prayers as we worship every Sunday. So at one time, during a particular time of seeking peace, we opened a different priest, opened space for politicians to come. For those, not only politicians, for those brothers to come and bring greetings. And then looking around, we realized, so that we don't confuse the congregants, so that we don't confuse the assemblies, it is important we come back to our liturgy so that we worship. After that, our brothers who are politicians, we can give them permission out of the altar so that if they have something to say, they can easily walk out with the congregation and then they can speak to the congregation outside the altar.
What is the mistake politicians are doing by speaking within the church?
Again, I have started by saying,
apart from the liturgy, what mistake will they be doing speaking directly within a church congregation?
They'll be interfering with the worship service. They'll be interfering with the holiness, with the worship, with the praise and worship to who God is. It has brought a big confusion. It has psychologically, it has deviated the concentration of worship to God, and then people start concentrating on issues. But we are saying we are not kicking them out of the church. They are seated there apart. Him and me, we are the same. We are all sinners looking to God for blessings. And as we are doing that, we say, now, my brother, because when we give you opportunity, sometimes you talk about selling of water, you talk about this cup. Instead of we concentrating here, let's concentrate on the liturgy. After that, we go and discuss any other things outside there. Okay. What's the mistake? The mistake is that sometimes our brothers or sisters, they go astray and start abusing one another in the same altar. That's a big confusion.
Okay.
Remember what happened the other day in Kirinyaga, where they came and the bishop was to walk out of the service? Now we are wondering if the bishop who is ordained set apart to celebrate, a celebrant of the liturgy, they are able to fight with a politician until he walks out of that service. It is really very devastating.
Okay.
Because the presence of God cannot walk away. I'm not saying the bishop is God, but he's ordained, set apart to celebrate the worship.
If the president was to walk in a church on Sunday, and a church that is under the umbrella of NCCK, how will that enforcement be made? Because I doubt if the president will just wake up and walk into a particular church. He has to have prior communication that he's going to attend that gathering.
That is why organized church, we work through systems. NCCK makes a decision, not an individual decisions. It is always a collective decision, a collaborative decision, accompanied by some ethical fiber within that system. And so we don't just speak because somebody thinks like speaking. We have analyzed, compared, contrasted from the executive committee, and then we say, this is our stand. And so we call upon our members, members that we are in fellowship together. We say, brothers and sisters, this is the way. Of course, we are not denying that an individual will go astray because of content, context, and circumstances. We also need to leave room for content, context, and circumstances. But our standard operation is this: stick to the liturgy of the day. Remember, worship is declaration of worthiness of God in that particular service. So if you go astray, you have gone against the liturgy. But we have not said that if you do it, we'll do this or this, but we are talking of collaborative, collective, with an ethical viper, with a value system, that you are thinking about the worshippers. You are thinking that these people here, they not necessarily support that particular politician for that time. And the politician might come up with other things that we have experienced recently. Just for example, what I said, what happened in somewhere in Central the other day, when a bishop will come, when the head of the women will come and speak there. Thank God it was not in a sanctuary, it was outside in a burial service. Now, that burial service is supposed to respect the laity, respect the family, and have a solemn assembly, a prayer moment. Here comes somebody shouting, he wanted to talk about Shah. It was not time for Shah. It was time to pray for the family and bring people together. Let the clergyman come back together. All of us have gone through some theological training. We have taken some vows. We have taken vows. We have taken vows to obey God, but not man.
Do you feel like the church leadership has failed us in this aspect?
It depends
because if you look at the former regime, and let's maybe speak to the regime of the late President Moi, rarely did we see him, even as authoritarian, he would come out to see him or to look, not addressing any congregation within a church building. Is it a failure, or is it a situation where the current leadership of the church?
I'll maybe say that it's the modern church extended a lot of grace. They extended grace beyond. Because if you go through all our liturgical books, they are so clear. Within our liturgy of the Presbyterian Church, we are called upon to pray for the government and pray for the leadership. But there's nowhere the liturgy says that at this particular time we invite so-and-so to come and speak. And so even the Catholic system, and that's why we are referring back to the back system, those that lived during President Moi. President Moi will come and sit there and listen and worship God, give thanks to God. After that, when you finish, we'll all say, now we have finished the service. After the benediction, let's walk out and go through those doors. Let's give respect to the head of state to go through here. And he'll address us outside there. And then he'll make a speech, tell us about water, tells us about the expectation of our roads, how the roads will be constructed, our expectation of how God is going to use him and use other people to do different things, socio-economic issues. But he's blessed, we are blessed. Can we go back to the roots? That's the question.
Okay. Yeah. Can we go back to the roots?
It's very possible.
Because there's the aspect of just post-Gen Zs where people felt like the church was already politically compromised.
Just like Reverend put it, you see, it depends on all the systems, and the modern church have extended a lot of mercy just in his words. And it's true. You see, it's all about policy, you know. If we can have a policy, like the church can have their policy. Actually, the church have their policies. Reverend has put it like, already when the service starts, that is, it has been, the altar has been set up, it's a church service. But they have that policy on their end. But now, these politicians, and we, most of us Kenyans, we truly know that what is the end game after I have disobeyed that rule. And you see, Africans, we only obey rules. We don't obey, we obey rules. That is it. Like, we have gone to the church. The church has allowed me, has allowed a leader to at least say a greeting. It's okay. Saying a greeting, because I'm sure, Paul, if these politicians, given a chance in the church, if they will just come, say hi to the people, and say a few good things there and sit down, we wouldn't be having all these things of maybe NCCK giving out statements saying we don't want politics in the church. But now, because we don't have a policy in place that can crack down, that can penalize a politician who will do politics in the church beyond a certain set stage, facing consequences for that. Because we don't have that one in place, now they take advantage. And we know politicians in this country, they perceive themselves to be above the law. And per se, we cannot really blame the church leadership because they are doing their part.
They are doing their part, which is fine. And NCCK is in the front line doing that aspect. The question is, Reverend, and he's spoken to it, the aspect of what then will happen for church leaders who will now not enforce what NCCK has said. And is this the entire Kenyan church or just churches under the umbrella of NCCK? I think maybe that clarity.
The Bible is so clear that faith comes by hearing. And when you speak to you, what you hear, what you do with it sometimes belongs to you. But if you are not going to adhere to what we are saying, how will you call your brothers and sisters to accountability if you cannot also be accountable even to the systems where you belong? Even what you have agreed together as a fellowship, how will you call your membership to accountability? How can you talk about morality? How can you talk about mindset shift if you are not willing to cooperate with others? Surely, it's just important that we cooperate together so that we can put the church. The church is one, as God is one. And my interest and your dream, we put it aside, but ask that we move together. At the same time, I'm remembering that, yes, as my colleague has said, there is organized church and individual leadership church. In the organized church, we have structures that we work through. And that's why at one time when we were going around in the country on the Presidential Task Force on Religious Matters, Kenyans came up with one statement. They want religious community to be structured. They were using this word, regulated. We asked them, will you, I was a member of that task force as you are aware, will you want the church to be regulated? They said no, but we want the church to regulate herself. We want the religious community to regulate herself. How? Through umbrella bodies. That's what they all said. We collected information and that docket, that document is with the head of state. We handed in that work. We finished, we handed in the work. We are waiting for the head of state to make a decision for the next course of action. Kenyan says they want the church to be regulated, but not with the government, but regulate herself through umbrella bodies. Which means umbrella bodies, if you are able to submit, if you agree to rank under an umbrella body, what you are saying is that you'll make collective decisions. You'll collaborate with others. You'll be able to look for ethical factors within those issues. And then you'll stand together with what others are saying.
Okay.
So what will I suggest? It is important that we look left and right, at least to be under particular authority. We are under God, but also here we are structured to worship God in an organized manner.
As the regional chairperson of NCCK within this region of Nairobi, if the president was to walk in Nabiswa's church, who is a member of NCCK, and he allows him to speak, what action will you take?
And the following day, I'll call him and tell, brother, tell us what happened. And brother, you are part of our fellowship. What happened? How did it go? And then we'll put him on the carpet, ask, brother, let's keep the church one. Let the church as one under God.
So we won't see him deflogged?
The issue of defrock or not defrocked goes with the individual church liturgies.
Okay. And
there are standards why people are defrocked. Okay. People are not defrocked because of omission and commission. They are defrocked because of sin that they are beyond reasonable doubt.
All right. We take a short break, gentlemen. We'll be coming back. But of course, as we are engaging as well, we want our viewers as well to be part of this conversation. No politics in church. Is this a reality or a realistic thing that can be achieved in our country as we speak, knowing the cultural and political environment in which the church operates? We are coming back after this short break. You can be sending your feedback on our SMS line 20316. Our WhatsApp line is 0786 316 316. See you after this short break.
We are living in a lost and broken world, constantly bombarded by messages of hate and atrocities. But with God, we can overcome. Find hope and restoration on the go through life-changing shows on the Family Media app.
And then you will lose yourself and gain the world. And Jesus said, what good is it?
Get to stream Family TV and Family Radio 316 straight from your phone. Catch up on a show you missed or create video streaming playlists by saving and watching videos from our huge variety of shows at your own convenience. Download the Family Media app, available for all Android and iOS users on the Google Play Store and Apple Store respectively. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the airwaves.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. I'm still joined by my guest, Reverend Dr. Alphonse Kanga, who is the Nairobi Regional Chairperson at NCCK. I'm also joined by Brian Nabiswa, is a political analyst, and we are looking at this, what we'll call current state of our nation, but generally something that is affecting the church politically. We've seen the church come out very strongly to condemn politics within our churches. The question is this a realistic move that can be achieved knowing our cultural and political environment where we operate? Before the break, you wanted to step into the issue of constitution providing an environment or a restriction to where politics can be done. Maybe speak to that before we get to Reverend.
Okay, basically, coming to that, when you look at the countries that have developed politically, even the democracy has really developed, like the US, the Germany, the what, these countries have set out when and how to do and venues to do the political rallies. So my point was, the Katiba we should have in the IEBC regulations or the policies related to electoral policies, they should stipulate that some areas are totally restricted to do politics and some areas are where you are supposed to do politics. And for that point, they should just state that politics should be done in a particular arenas or set out venues. Because I have seen particularly in whereby the church has been turned to a political scene where you could see people shouting the name of this another politician, others replying with another politician. It ends up being chaotic. In the recent, mostly in funerals, where the church has really taken up the service, and even in our church, we've seen churches on Sundays turn into war grounds. So we should look at the political and electoral policies so that they stipulate that certain areas should be avoided completely to do politics, and also they should set what should be done, or the aftermaths, or the repercussions to those people who will break such laws. Okay. These will greatly assist to ensure that we have at least order and sanity. As I was saying on the same point is, at the moment, we talk of political polarization, and looking at the setup of the church brings all people across, regardless of the tribe, regardless of who you support. Now, and human beings are natural politically in nature. John Paul, but even you personally, if you have someone you love in politics, when he comes here, he'll say, this is my person. Whoever person has someone to support. Now you are coming to the church. You are doing your politics there. And our politics is not politics without attacking the opponent. If a politician comes, states policies, what he has done, what he does well in his constituents, in fact, people will see him as not that real guy they need in politics. But someone who will come with that power, call names of his opponents, say a lot of negative about the opponent, that is now the politician we want. Now you take a scenario where such kind of things are happening in the church. And this church has brought out people from all
different groups.
From different groups. So people will end up looking that, oh, so you support this person and I don't support him. You will see that we are disintegrating.
Okay, so the church will generally become a platform for disunity.
Disunity, polarization.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr.
JP.
Yes, just as you tie to this question, is the church doing this and issuing this statement because they are afraid of scrutiny from the public and backlash?
Not really. I think the church is just becoming clear. But before that, there is the issue of politics. The word politics from the original language simply means promotion of awareness in the community. The word politics, promotion of awareness in the community, has nothing to do with aggressiveness and some ridiculous behavior that we have experienced in this part of the world. It's on that we developed a wrong culture as far as promotion of awareness in the community is concerned. If you stand and say that we have no water, and since we have no water, we need to come together as a community and develop a water system in our community. And the way to do it is to pray for one another and hold hands together. There's no issue. But the culture we developed in this part of the world has a problem. And that's why, my friend, we need to pray and support, pray for head of state and support that out of the presidential task force that he formed and came up with a number of issues, that paper will go through. That bill we develop will go through. It will come up with structures and way to do religion in this country. And this will be able to take care of some of these bottlenecks. You know, in this country, JP, sometimes we have done religion as a side hustle. And you are doing religion as a side hustle, you are in trouble because you'll give in to any junk that comes in. You'll take any tomato that comes in. These are good tomatoes you are supposed to buy and eat. You can end up eating bad tomatoes on the market simply because you are doing as a side hustle. But that report, as he talks about the Constitution, we need to pray at one time that report, when it's ready, it will deal with this issue of religion as a side hustle.
Okay.
Is the church doing this just for the sake of it? No. The church was formed in 3rd AD. And the church was deformed in the Middle Ages. And the church was reformed by Martin Luther. It was formed in that AD. It was deformed in the Middle Ages. I don't want to say who deformed it. But now it was reformed by Martin Luther.
We've seen politicians support projects within congregations, within different denominations and churches. We've talked about the mainland, or what we'll call the mainstream churches, who financially have a strong backbone, not as the charismatic or independent churches. And the political class have managed to get and penetrate our churches because of the financial aspect. So show me the bag, I give you the pulpit. So is the church having a moral authority now to regain its voice and speak against those that they have benefited from?
Yeah, very true. You know, still on the same grounds. Like right now, we have those organized churches and churches that have systems across. You know, just like Reverend said, you see, these organized churches, I am sure, like he said, is a member of your
I'm a Presbyterian.
Presbyterian. They have the senior, ours we have the cardinal. I don't know.
Our senior most is the court. We call it the presbytery.
Yes.
We have the presbytery and the general assembly.
I am very sure the presbytery can summon that reverend in my small church in the village for for not adhering to the rules of breaking the rules of the church. Like now for us, the Catholic Church, you can be, they can remove you from the position because you've broken the rules. Now, like SEK, we saw the other day the Catholics returning the offerings.
The donation.
Yes, they returned. We have seen SEK saying that don't pick. We saw, was it they gave the Presbyterian, also gave the briefing saying that the church is a holy place. And these churches have a system. They have a system whereby they run their activities, they run their church programs from collection from members. And I am sure Reverend can attest. Every month, the offerings and support of the church, it comes in millions. So even now they don't need that service. So when they say that we don't want politics in the church, they are saying, and they mean it. But now we have these individual churches, like today I wake up in Lavington here, I start a church. This church, it needs to run. I also need to, as a pastor, I need to drive a SUV, a very expensive car. I need to stay a lavish life. So whatever my congregants are giving is not enough. In fact, I also have to fly out of the country maybe once in a month. So
is that the life of a pastor, Reverend? At least you are one.
so when
no,
they
if you
see-
can afford.
So when they see a politician coming, they know that today here I am not going to go beyond below 2 million or 500,000. So they'll give it a chance. In fact, they'll praise. And also we have seen those church leaders and pastors who have come out and said, bring those money. If others are returning, bring them to me. So that is the moral we were talking about. Because now if the NCCK, this is a body that regulates, that actually oversees and ensures that we have sanity in all the churches in the country. But we have a small section somewhere which is now going to the contrary, pronouncing that we can allow this politician. And for your information, Paul, even this politician now, they have realized that that is a no-go zone, that if I go to Catholic, I'll not give that money. It's a no-go zone. And that money is not, most of them, they don't give that money out of good faith. Paul, let me tell you, they give it as a show-off so that the members can say, this guy, we will remember him because he gave our church 20 million.
In your closing remarks, broad-based, the church seems to be comfortable with it for purposes of unity of the country, but not for the service.
I'm not aware whether the church will have issued a statement in that direction, but united we stand, divided we fall. But for this particular issue of broad-based or bread-based, we have not. It's just we stand and see and pray and see how far they are.
Okay.
But one good thing I have known as a person is that we have known that these people are the same. The politicians are the same. Because nobody will tell you that this one is bad and this one is bad. They are the same, following the same interest. Kenyans, you're on your own. You stand with your God. Let's unite together and organize our country. Let's not think there's a politician who will come and structure the country for us.
Good point to end. Let's not think that there's a politician that will come to organize our country for us. We need to do it as a people, as a unified force, as one country. That's what we pray for. And here on Crosstalk, we've been looking at the state of the nation towards the tail end of this discussion, but majorly focusing on the statement that was issued by the SEK Archbishop and the NCCK leadership in regards to no politics in church. Thank you, Nabiswa, for your time. Thank you, Dr. Kanga, for your time. You have been a friend of Family Media.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Asante sana.
You can also be a friend of Family Media through your partnership. You can partner with us through a paybill number, through your offerings and giving. You can donate to us. Your paybill number is 316. Account name, input your phone number. And our partners relationship desk will reach out to you to acknowledge you are giving to Family Media. Until next week, bye-bye for now.